Welcome back, Embers, or if you're new here, welcome to the Campfire Crew. My name is Stone, my pronouns are they, them, and today I am barefaced, no makeup to show you, because I don't know what I want to wear on my eyes yet. So I figured I would do this update and then I would put on some makeup after this, so I'll probably film another video with actual makeup on. And as you can tell by the title of the video, we're doing an update for Pandos 62 eyeshadows, the project where I have to pan 62 eyeshadows before I can buy any new eyeshadows. And if I do buy them, I can't use them until I pan that number. That number is determined by the last two palettes I brought into my collection. One was a 16 pan palette, which I bought myself, and then my friend kindly gifted me a 15 pan palette, so that added another 30 shades. So I have to pan twice as many shades as I bring in. So once I finish this and bring in a new palette, I will have to pan twice as many shades as that palette contains to get a palette after that, until I can't do that anymore because I have so many pans of eyeshadow. So that's what we're doing in case you're new. Now, this is my second update. Actually, hopefully on time this time, or at least much more on time than last time when we had like 3 months. So let's first, of course, talk about the shades that I had last month, and then we'll talk about what I'm doing with them and roll-ins and all that kind of stuff. Let's start with the first one I rolled in. Actually, I rolled both of these in at the intro, so they're my oldest shades in this project. But we're gonna start with the shade Hallucinate. So I believe last time, yeah, we covered January, February, and March. So today we're gonna cover April and the beginning of May, because we're in May right now. Yep. Okay. Just making sure that everything's good. I have my notes right here. So if I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at my sticker covered notebook. So the first shade I rolled in is a beautiful shade from the Def Leppard palette, and it is Hallucinate. And Hallucinate, last update, I had used it 9 times in the 3 months since the beginning of the year, and now I have used this shade an additional 4 times in April and 1 time so far in May, though we are not finished May. So I've used it 5 more times, and this is what Hallucinate looked like last time. Give you a second to look at it, and this is what Hallucinate, I love that this palette can bend all the way back, looks like now, but of course I will also put a picture up on the screen. It's getting quite a big dip and it's really beautiful. I've been using it a lot on the inner corner. Last time I feel like we had a little bit of a dip, but it's definitely getting more visible now. I feel like you can actually like see it, whereas before I kind of was like, there's a dip, I promise, whereas now you can actually see that there's a dip. So that's what we have on this palette. Next, we have another shade that I rolled in the intro, and I've been using these together quite a lot. That is the shade Tangerine. Tangerine is this really pretty, I'll show it on the screen right now. This is what it looked like last time. A really pretty yellow, like orangey yellow shade with a pink flip. So the base color is like this orangey yellow or this yellowy orange, whichever way. And the shimmer running through it is pink. It's really beautiful, but it's also a very specific shade, and it comes from my Simply Posh Citrus Punch palette. I know what the name of this is. I didn't need to look at it. I just had a brain fart. I love this palette. It's definitely a very me palette. I think I already said this is what this shade looked like last time. In the first 3 months, I had used it 5 times. And since then, I have used it an additional 3 times, all in April. I haven't used it in May yet. And this is what we are looking like in this. And this is what we're looking like in this palette now. This is the shade right here. There is more of a dip than last time in the 3 more uses that I have in it. So how many in total have I used in this project? 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 more uses than before. Ooh. And since owning this palette, I can actually tell you that too. I've used it 13 times. And there's definitely, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm also probably going to put pictures up on the screen. I mean, I'm definitely going to do that. So I'm just going to look at it now. There's a bit more of a dip. It's definitely closer to tropical now in terms of the dip, but it's not a super big dip. It kind of looks like, how do I phrase this? It looks kind of like a donut shaped, where like the outer ring is high and then it kind of dips in. So yeah, you can definitely tell there's a dip because the outside is so much higher than the rest of it, but it's not like a really pinpoint dip the way that Hallucinate is, because I use it with my finger. So it's the size of my finger. All of these shimmers I use with my finger, and I tap them instead of swiping them. I tap, 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 and then go in for more and tap, tap. So yeah, it's quite a big dip. I'm not using the most at the same time because I am using my finger. Sometimes I use a brush when I want to get into my inner corner, which I do a lot. But I have to be really careful with that because they're a bit chunkier. And for these two shades, my Hallucinate and my Citrus Punch, I've decided that I have been working on this for 4 months now. So I'm going to roll these out, like I said, with some of my other eyeshadows in this project. I need to eat at some point. My pot is soaking so I can make myself some pasta. We're on leftovers, where like we're cleaning out the fridge and eating everything that's left in the fridge time. Anyway, aside from my stomach grumbling like mad, I'm gonna roll out both of these shades because I've had them in for 4 months. I've said before that if I roll something out, I will roll it back into the project when I feel it is the most appropriate, or when I'm ready to roll it back in. So one shade is a dark pink that I didn't pan, and so I'm going to roll that in November through probably October, and then do October, November, December, January, February, I think, something like that, because those are the times when I would use a shade like that. So I'll roll it back in later in the year when I feel it's appropriate. And then for these, I will probably roll them in again at some point in the summer. I imagine I'm going to roll Hallucinate back in next month if I have a rollout, or I might just add it to the list and just start panning 5 shades. I don't know. But I'm probably going to roll this in first because it's really useful as an inner corner and it goes with a lot of things. I'm just a little sick of yellow, and like this particular, I've been doing a lot of yellow looks this year because I've had these palettes out, or things that go with yellow, some greens I can use this with. And this particular shade in the Simply Posh palette in Citrus Punch, like I said, yellow to pink, and so I've been doing a lot of yellow looks and yellow and pink looks, and like it's just very specific, and I need a break from these. So I'm gonna take at least a month off, and we'll see when I bring it back in, probably again in the summer, maybe in the spring next year. But we will bring these shades back in when I'm ready. I won't like randomly select them. I will just bring them back when I'm ready to bring them back, and we will start working on them again. Until, I'm not sure how we'll roll them out next time, but like they are now in the project and I want to pan them. I'm just gonna take a break from them, if that makes sense. Now let's talk about the exciting things. Both of these next shades have pan on them. So let's first talk about my Divina singles. So in my Divina singles, this is your first update of this project, I am using this palette. This is my Divina singles, my oldest palette. I'm calling it a palette because they live in here, they don't move from here, and this is how I bought them. I have 5 shades in here that are from this palette originally, and 2 represses actually in here. But of the original shades that are originally from this Divina palette that I have left, I'm trying to pan all of them. And what I'm doing is every month, if I hit pan, if I don't hit pan, I'm picking a new shade that I think I want to use that month, and I'm just using it for a month. However many times I use it, however few times I use it, I'm using it for a month, enjoying it for the month, and then picking a new shade. until there's only one shade left, and then I just work on it indefinitely, I guess. I don't know. But the shade we had last month is Blazed. Now, I used Blazed one time in February, though it wasn't rolled into this project. I used it for a Valentine's Day look. I was doing like a red smoky Valentine's Day look, so I used this. But since rolling it into this project last month, I used it 2 times. The first time I used it, I hit pan. This is what the shade looked like before. No, I can't show you what this shade looked like before because for both of these palettes, I forgot to take a picture before I used it. I used it one time in this project and I got pan. So I'll show you a picture of what the pan looked like on my first use. And then I used it a second time to expand the pan a little bit. And now this is Blazed. This is what it looks like. These are the shades that we're working on. These 2 weren't originally from this palette, but this is the pan on Blazed. I'll show a picture, but you can kind of see that this pan isn't super, because I used it a second time, it's not super like dug in. One side is a lot less dug in. You can kind of probably see where I've stuck my finger in this. I like using shimmers with my finger the most, so a lot of them have finger marks in them and they're kind of finger size, so I actually don't use them as quickly as I do mattes. Or at like, a lot of people hit pan on shimmers way faster than they hit pan on mattes. I don't necessarily have that. I have it a little bit still because just the nature of shimmers, but it's not as extreme as it is with some people because I use, especially outer corner mats get used the fastest for me because I use them like with a very small brush. Inner corner shades and outer corner shades, like if it's going in here, I use it really quickly. If it's going out here, I use it really quickly. And then shimmers and then blending out shades take the longest, of course. But I have a system for panning anyway. I'm talking a lot and I think I'm okay with that. So yeah, I used this 2 times and I got a pan on the first one. Second shade is this. So we're gonna put this away for now, but of course this will be back once I roll in the new shades. Now, my last shade that I used is from my I Heart Revolution Big Cheese palette, and it's the shade Monterey Jack. Oh, I should tell you that Blazed I hit pan on 26 uses, and it now has 27 uses total. Not since this is the only palette where I can't tell you how many times I've used it in its entire life with me. I've tracked most of its uses with me, but not every single one, because I started tracking usage after I got this palette. So yeah, every other palette I own, I can tell you from like every use I've ever had on it. This one I can't, but 26 tracked uses. I don't think I have that many uses before I started tracking, but like at least a couple of uses are missing, but 26 uses on that. Now, back to my Big Cheese palette. There are 3 shades in this palette. And 2 of the shades originally from this palette are now in here. There's 3 shades in this palette, and I rolled the shade Monterey Jack, which is a yellow. This is what it looks like before. And I also did not take a picture of it before, actually. Anyway, this is what it looks like now. It's this yellow, and as you can see, there's a big old pan in this. I used this 3 times during this project, 4 times this year, and in total 14 times to hit pan, which means I used it 2 additional times after hitting pan. So I hit pan on my first use of it in this project. And then I used it 2 more times to expand the pan. I have decided that I'm actually going to get rid of this shade Monterey Jack because one of the times I used it, I used the shade Lemon with that, and they don't look the same, but on the eyes they look the same on me, and Lemon is better. So This is a hand-me-down, so I'm not sure if the quality is because this has worse quality or because it's older or both, because I don't know how old this is, but in my collection it's already quite old. It's at least 3 years old. Probably older, but I don't know. Plus however long it existed in someone else's collection, which I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna declutter that because this is a dupe shade. I'd rather use this shade. It's better and I like this palette more. So we are gonna get rid of the shade Monterey Jack, but I have panned it. Yeah. So, oh, let's not put that there, actually. We're gonna put this back. Oh, also, speaking of things I'm getting rid of, in my Def Leppard palette, I used this shade Promise, and I'm going to get rid of it. I wasn't sure when I first used it. I thought maybe I should use it another time, but now that it's been a while since I've used it, I've decided to also get rid of this. This shade doesn't have a dupe in my collection. I don't have cool tone purples, but it just isn't very good. And I don't want to use a shade that I'm really excited about. When I used this, I was really excited to pull out this beautiful cool tone purple and put it in my crease. But then I used it and I didn't like the look because the shade was like, didn't blend that well. All shades kind of have a little bit of patchiness here for me, and I have to work with my eyes, which are kind of like crinkly, and there's like a lot of movement happening in there. There's a lot of extra eyelid, if that makes sense. But this one was worse than the others, and I just didn't enjoy using it. I thought I would use it another time and see if maybe I could work with it, but I just decided, partially because I didn't buy this palette and it's also a hand-me-down, and partially because I just can't be asked to use shades that I don't like over shades I actually do like. I'm just gonna declutter that shade as well. So that's two shades decluttered from my collection, 2 shades panned. And so let's talk about the roll-ins. So as you can see, through either panning or through rolling out selectively my eyeshadows from this project, I have a full reset. And so let's talk about it. The first thing I want to talk about is a shade that I've hand selected, not from this palette. We're going to talk about this last because I want to see the color story swatched out of my new color story before I pick which shade I'm going to use, because that might change things. But I did hand select a shade from this palette, and that is because, as you might have seen as you probably saw in the title of this video, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to put it in the title of this video, I am adding another project into this project. So that project is created by my lovely, lovely friend, Alyssa. I will link her channel above, below, in the cards. It will be linked somewhere, however I can figure out how to do that. We've done multiple collabs now. I absolutely adore them. They are so much fun, such a good makeup channel. If you are watching me and haven't watched her, what are you doing? Go watch her. I'm sure you've already heard me say this if you're not new to the channel, because I've done collabs on here with them. But go watch them. They're excellent. They are doing Pan the Rainbow project, and basically they pick one shade at a time in rainbow order, and they are panning that specific shade. So that's what I'm gonna do. So one of these shades will be from Pan the Rainbow. So we're starting with red, then it will be orange, yellow, starting with red, maybe then pink, then orange, then yellow. I'm not sure exactly. I'm probably gonna just follow the color scheme they go with. Yeah, but we're starting with red. That's the most important thing. And the red I'm pulling is from this project, from this palette. So yeah, when I roll out this shade, specifically only this shade, I will then roll in my next Pan the Rainbow shade, if that makes sense. So one of these shades I'm always going to have from here until they are all panned, and one of them is going to be part of Pan the Rainbow until I've panned the rainbow. So, like I said, we're panning a red. My red comes from the Indigo Ink palette. I have no pans in this palette. It's a very deep, like there's a lot of eyeshadow in these pans. I'm not sure how deep they are because they are decently large pans of eyeshadow. They're square too, so you have all of the like because in circle pans, it's all in a smaller area because circles. So you have all the corner space too, and they're decently large pans of eyeshadow. So I don't know how deep they are. No more than that though. Like, take off that part. They can't be deeper than that. I bet they're probably about that deep. Minus also the, you know, the packaging at the bottom and the packaging at the top. So they're probably, I don't know, like this. I don't know if that helps. Anyway, I don't know how deep these are. I can make an educated guess of how deep these are, and they don't look, like the palette itself doesn't look that thick. So I don't think these are the deepest, which I originally thought actually they kind of were going to be. As you can tell, I'm panning this shade. I'm all over the place. Oh my God. It was Mother's Day this weekend, and I work in a restaurant, so you can imagine how that went. It was very busy. I'm very tired-y. I slept, but I'm still very tired. Yeah, my brain's a little fried from those shifts. Anyway, I'm going to be using the red shade, which is Pygmy. So far, Pygmy, where are you? Has 3 uses in its lifetime with me, and none this year, so that will help with my other project, actually. Yeah. So we're going to use that shade. I really like this red, and I really like it for summer, especially with this palette. I use sometimes greens and pinks and reds together in like a watermelon look, which I will probably break out this summer. I think it's really pretty. I use it to deepen out pinks. I use it for obviously red total looks. I actually think reds are quite versatile. I know a lot of people don't love reds, but I love reds. I love, love, love reds. I think they're very versatile, like them a lot. So I'm excited to start with a color that I really like, and I really like this formula, and I'm excited to get more use on this eyeshadow specifically and this palette, and just like, I'm excited, I'm happy. The shades are so soft. This is what it looks like on my hand. It's a little bit pinkier in, like orangier actually, I would say, when you look at it in the video versus my actual hand is like quite a deep, nice red. Like in person, it looks like kind of slightly deeper than it does in the pan right here. And this is what the shade looks like. Let me get a better swatch. These are really nice on the eye. I don't know if I'm just a bad swatcher or they just don't swatch well, but either way, I really like this formula. The mattes are like powdery and pigmented, which I've noticed that I always enjoy a formula that's really pigmented and also powdery. And you can see it goes a long way. You don't need a lot, which I guess will make this take a while. And this I do have to keep in until I pan it. Unlike the rest of the shades where I'm kind of rolling them in and out as I feel like it, this one has to stay in because it's Pan the Rainbow. So I have to pan one shade before I can move on to the next. My hand is all red now. Lovely. Anyway, this is the first shade. I really like it. I think it's really beautiful. I'm gonna go wash my hands so I can swatch the next shade, which I've already rolled in. I have 2 shades I've rolled in. Be right back. Okay, so I've rolled in 2 shades. Let me show you here them rolling in. I'll cut in footage. I use my phone to film and to roll in shades. So the first shade is 27, and I have this list of shades I want to pan. I'm rolling it from this list, not from my entire collection, just because I want to focus on things that I like. So that's what I'm doing. And the first shade, actually, I only just realized is this shade. I rolled this in. I knew I was going to roll this in for Pan the Rainbow, and then I actually rolled it in for this project. So I have to pick something else. I guess I will hand select maybe something. But the next shade is interesting. Not because it's bad at all, obviously, or I wouldn't have it in my list of shades I want to pan. It's interesting because it's from my newest palette, which I haven't even This is my Nomad Royal Europe palette. I haven't even no pan left behind it this yet. I haven't used every shade in this palette yet, but I rolled in a shade because I've been adding shades from here as I've decided I love them and want to pan them. Sorry, I'm moving around a lot. I don't know if you can tell, I've been drinking energy drinks. This is Rain Orange Dreamsicle, and I've been gaming this morning and drinking energy drinks and not eating a lot of food. I ate a bagel, and now I have to eat lunch, so I'm a little hyper. I'm a little all over the place. I hope you all enjoyed the chaos. Anyway, so I haven't done a no pan left behind on this palette yet, but our first shade from this is rolling in, and that is the shade, where is it? Bleu de France. Wow, that looks so different on camera. This looks like it actually matches this row, but in person it looks like a much darker blue, like a very rich, like it kind of matches this shade a little bit, but even deeper. Whereas here it kind of looks like halfway in between those two. And then it shifts to this very beautiful purple shade. Ooh, I wonder if, I know people do this trick a lot. Yeah, it's the middle shimmer. So it's this very pretty purple to this like electric turquoise is what it looks like on my end, like vividly turquoise to this like blue toned purple. And it is slightly different than this purple. Like I'm looking at them right now and they're kind of at the same shift where this is purple and this is purple, and they're slightly different but similar. This is more warm toned a little bit, and this is slightly less warm toned, but not much. It's still kind of like a pinky purple in some lighting. But I think this is a stunning shade. Absolutely love it. The other one that's in this, in the pan shades I want to pan list, is Royal Orb, and I bet the rest of these colors, the rest of these shimmers, once I try them, will be in this list. I just need to try them first. I've actually tried a couple more of these shades, these shimmers. Like I've tried Royal Treasure, but I did it at night, like when it was dark. So I need to try it during the day. But yeah, one, I'm excited for this because it's a really, really beautiful shimmer. I am already really excited to use it a ton. And second of all, I'm excited for this shimmer because it's in this palette, and that means I get to focus on this palette, which I obviously could do at any time, but like it's harder for me to use new palettes as opposed to old ones, because with older palettes I feel like I can play with them more because I know what the shades look like on my eyes. I know how they perform. I know how they look with other things. There's a lot of testing that I like to do with new palettes, and so it's easier for me to use older palettes when I have like a specific look I want to do, whereas new palettes, I feel like when I'm doing a new palette, I'm testing the palette. I'm like, what does this look like in this kind of look? What does it look like with these colors and those colors? And like, it's less of a like, I know what I want, so I'm doing what I want with makeup, and more like a testing phase. And so I use the palette primarily by itself, and also like I'm actively testing it every time I try it. I'm like, I want to try this. I want to test this, as opposed to my palettes that I've used a bunch of times with a bunch of different things. I'm just like, oh, I know what this is going to look like. I know how this is going to turn out. There's more certainty to it. Yeah. But this gives me an excuse to test out this palette more, I think, which I kind of need because I've been neglecting it. Anyway, Bleu de France, let me swatch it for you. So with this, because it is brand new, and also because I've been thinking lately about the fact that, let me talk while I swatch. I've been thinking about the fact that I've said this before, a lot of my shades are newer or less used. You cannot see how pretty this is. Like, this does not Oh, that's because it's a bad swatch. Okay. Let me just, this is so beautiful on the eyes. It's crazy. There we go. With the sun, you really can't see how stunning this shade is. It's so beautiful. Like, oh, you can't see it on my finger either. I can see it in person. You just can't see it on camera. It's so pretty. What was I saying? Oh, right. With this shade, I want to do something different. I've been thinking about the fact that a lot of these shades are not close to hitting pan on them. And it's like, how do I roll out a shade that isn't close to hitting pan without hitting pan in a panning project? Like, lots of people have specific goals that they make at the beginning of the year for everything. I'm gonna make goals for specific eyeshadows. Some of them I'm gonna just do like I've done with those and just use them until I pan them, and then keep bringing them back in seasons I find appropriate until I pan them. But for some of these, I'm going to put other goals on them, like usage, either usage goals, or for this one, I want, because this is a newer palette, to do something I love to do with palettes that have embossing on them, which is only two actually, it's only these two. So my goal is going to be to use this eyeshadow until the embossing on this is worn away. So I already have, from using it one time and from swatching it a few times, I've started to wear away the top of this jewel. But I'm going to keep this in the project until I entirely wear away this jewel, which means obviously I'm not going to be getting a dip in one particular spot. But I think that's a good goal to start with this and to get some use on it, to see how I feel about it, and also just, yeah, get some use on this, because obviously 62 is a lot of eyeshadows to pan, right? That's a lot. But the whole point of this project is, if I want to bring new eyeshadow in, I have to use the eyeshadows I already have. And so even though this goal is kind of already a lot, I want to do more than just hyper focus, fixate on pans that are the closest. And I want to also like get some use out of the things I love. So yeah, that's my goal for this. This project's going to be forever if I keep doing things like this, but it was going to be forever anyway. Yeah, so Bleu de France. So right now we have two things that don't go together at all, and I am supposed to pick another thing. Okay, let me pick my Divina shade, then I'll pick another shade because my thing is that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 shades left. I have this red. So you know what? We're going to work on another matte. I worked on this matte. I've worked on this matte. So let's work on this red. This is not going to be panned in a month. This is what this looks like. It's this really pretty brick color. And I have almost no usage on it. Let me check how many times I've used it. This color is called Lucretia. I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce it. I don't know what languages it is, so that doesn't help. Because if I knew what language it was, I could maybe figure that out. Anyway, it's this really dark brick red. I think it'll go good to deepen up this red. This is, oh my god. Oh, shut up. I forgot how pretty this is. I should be using this more. This is why I do this project. I should be using this more. That's stunning. Those two will go really well together. So maybe I'll pick a shade that goes with this. Perfect. So far, I have used this shade no times this year, but in total that I know of, I have used it 15 times. Yeah, so we're going to use it for the month, and then we'll roll something new in. So that's for that. And then give me a second. I'm going to go through the palette and figure out what else I want to go with. I'm going to probably roll in a matte that goes with this shade, so then I can have something that goes with that. I will be back. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe a red, maybe a pink. Who knows? We'll figure it out. Bye. See you in a second. Okay, I've decided. So I looked at some purples because it's a purple blue, and I thought purple would be good. I looked at a few shimmers. I really considered the shimmer from my Harvest of Souls palette, Eternal, which is really, really beautiful, and it would make a stunning topper. The reason I decided not to is because in Expand Those Pans, which I'm also doing this year, I have a purple blue shimmer that I think would also go really good with this, and I thought, no, let's not do a topper for this, because I can use that as a topper, as a shade to match with it that would kind of be the same as that shade, and so then it's just taking away from the shade that I'm going to do. So then I decided, why not bring in a blue from my, I also looked at the matte purples in the palette, and I just didn't feel like they quite went because they're so cool toned, whereas this is a more warm tone purple, even though it's cool tone blue. Obviously, blues are all cool tone. Anyway, I just felt like it didn't really, like I wasn't vibing with it. So I decided on a blue from my Indigo Ink palette, which obviously we're already using. And I decided on a blue that both has a tiny little bit of a dip, so you could probably tell what it is right now, but also a blue that I absolutely love. Love, 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 love this matte blue. Maybe I could have gone with the light blue shimmer from Harvest of Souls, and you know what, I might at some point pair those together. Actually, I definitely should pair those together. That'll be cute. But I decided to start panning small spaces from Indigo Ink. This is what it looks like. It's this, a lot of people say these are too similar, but I disagree. I think they are similar, but not the same at all. Because this is this really beautiful, dusty, desaturated, but not so desaturated that it's murky, but kind of just a little bit desaturated, kind of slightly gray leaning blue shade, where it's not gray with a blue undertone, it is blue with a slight gray cast blue, and I freaking love it. And I know that it probably doesn't go the most, and wow, that swatch is terrible. And now that I'm looking at it, it probably wouldn't even work for dark skin tones, because my arm is very slightly darker than my pasty face, even though you can't tell in this light. Yeah, it doesn't swatch well, but you saw it on my finger. It's really beautiful. I really love this shade, and I know that they don't really look like they go together, but I thought this would be a really nice way to make this really dark shimmer, to give it new life, to kind of have more contrast in a look. I think these two will work together for a more contrasty look, which is a look I really like, and something that the palette itself doesn't really offer, because there actually is one light blue that's kind of similar to it, which I haven't tried yet, so maybe I should have rolled that in, and I will probably try it with this look one day instead of using the blue that I selected, which is Palace de Versailles. Okay. I'm trying to pronounce it in a French way, but it's also, Palace is written in English, so my brain keeps going Palace de Versailles, may say Palace of Versailles. So my brain's trying to make me read it with a French accent, but I should be reading it with an English accent because it makes more sense. So like, this is the blue in the palette, which I guess I'll swatch here. Ooh, I mean, I'll definitely use it. I could actually probably use this to deepen this up with this, now that I'm looking at it. But I love the shade. I love it a lot. I think it's so beautiful. I think it'll be really great to like really brighten this shade up, and then I can use like a really bright blue, for instance, this blue, ooh, which actually has a purple reflect. This is my second newest palette, so like, I don't know this palette as well. Like, look at that. Imagine this and this and this and that. Like, shut the that's gonna be pretty. That's gonna be really pretty. So I probably could have rolled this shade in, but I'm choosing to roll this shade in. Do I regret that decision a little now that I've seen this? No, because again, same thing with the I have a purple shade that's purpley blue, so I should use that with this shade. But yeah, that's gonna be a stunning look. Definitely excited. So this is my actual color story. These are just some things I was thinking about. So I got reds and blues, very separate. I could probably also use these reds with this shade and do like red to purple with that and a little bit like a blue inner pop. This is actually making me very excited. I'm really excited to have a full new set of roll-ins. This video is 40 plus minutes long. I don't know how long it'll be with me editing it down, but this is what it looks like. I will take a picture of this, probably not right now, but yeah, that's the update. Oh, quickly, before I run out of battery, because I only have like 10 minutes, I need to tell you my pan percentage, because I am supposed to be doing that in this project. I haven't been, I think. I don't remember doing it. Maybe I did it at the beginning of the year, but I don't remember doing it, so I'll quickly share all of my pan percentages. So at my intro, my pan percentage was 33.61%, which went down 4.71% from the end of last year. And I had 41 pans in my collection at that time and 122 pans of eyeshadow total in my collection. Then in January, this number went to, and then in January, I panned one shade of eyeshadow for 42 pans of eyeshadow, and I decluttered one shade, so I had 42 over 121 pans, which means a pan percentage of 34.71%, which means I upped my pan percentage this time by 1.1%. In February, I did not pan anything. I did not declutter anything. And so my difference was 0. Everything was the same. Refer back to January. In March, so this was last month, in March, I had a pan at the beginning of March, I think. End of March. I had to think about that for a second. At the end of March, I got this palette in the mail, came in March, from my lovely friend, Persephone. I don't think I said their name at the beginning of this video when I talked about that palette. My lovely friend Persephone, also linked in the description, came in, which means, and I had, so that palette came in, which means I had more pans of eyeshadow. I went from 121 pans of eyeshadow to 136 pans of eyeshadow, and I did not pan any new shades in March, which means my pan percentage went down to 30.88%. And this is rounding to the second decimal, just because I have to cut it off at some point. So my pan percentage went down another 3.83%. So far, we've gone down more than we've gone up by like a lot, actually. From last year, the end of last year, to currently, we're down quite a bit. Anyway, so April, the end of April, I had panned 2 new shades in this project. So I had 44 pans and still 136 pans of eyeshadow, which means my pan percentage was now 32.35%, making an increase of 1.47%. And then for context, let me try and quickly find this. Where is it? Do I need the pan percentage? Jeez. Do I not have pan percentage numbers for this year? Oh, I didn't pan anything. That's why I don't have pan percentage numbers. Okay. And then at the end of 2024, the last time I had panned pretty much anything, my pan percentage was 38.32%. So then we went from 38.32% to the beginning of this year, 33.61%, which was the difference of 4.71%. So yeah, so far this year, if we're counting the intro, which I'm going to, we've lost this amount of pan percentage and we've gained this amount of pan percentage. So we're still down this amount of pan percentage. I need my calculator on my phone to do the math. The numbers will be up here, which is bad. So far we need to dig ourselves out of the hole we've made of the pan percentage. I'm hoping to soon get up to the pan percentage I started at this year. And then my next goal, I guess, will be to get to the pan percentage we had in 2024, so 38 point whatever. And then it'll be to get to 50%, and then we'll move on from there. Anyway, now it's time for me to go before my phone either dies or I run out of storage space on this thing. Thank you for watching. If you watched this whole video, you're amazing, because it is long. I don't know how long, but it's definitely still going to be long when I edit this. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can watch other videos I have. I have a lot of stuff going on, and I will see you guys later. Bye!